Contestant number 6, Abiram Mathivathanan, The Stone. The Stone, Abiram Mathivathanan.
For y'all, this stone may seem something ordinary, but to me, this represents everything I was told to be. Solid, emotionless, and unbreakable. Be strong like a stone, they said. Do not cry, do not feel, just endure. And for years, I tried. I held it all in. But the truth is, I'm not a stone. I'm a human. Contest chair, distinguished judges, ladies and gentlemen. From a young age, boys are handed an invisible rule book. And right at the top is one golden commandment. Be tough. Boys don't cry. And so, we learn to bury our feelings. When I was a kid, I fell and wounded my forehead. It was unbearably painful. I wanted to cry. But then, I remembered what I was taught. I held back my tears. I clenched my fist, bit my lip, and stayed silent. But my mom was so happy and she was proud to tell others how brave I was because I didn't shed a single tear. That day, I learned emotions were something to be ashamed of. From then on, I started crying and expressing myself. But the emotions inside didn't disappear. They just built up. Then came the moment that changed everything. I had grown into a perfect introvert, avoiding people. One day, my mom was yelling at me, "Abiram, what is this? You can't live like this. You have to change, son." At that moment, I was already stressed out. And with her harsh words, I broke. I broke, but not in an ordinary way. Do you think that I cried in front of my mom? Instead, I had to go through a physical reaction that I have never experienced before. A tight chest, rapid shallow breathing, and a terrible sensation of not being able to breathe. My mom was so panicked, and it took several minutes for me to get back to normal state. That was when we both realized what has caused this. Years of bottled up emotions. And then my mom said something that she had never said me before. "Abi, whenever you feel like crying, just cry and relax." But I couldn't. The habit had become so ingrained that when I tried my best to cry, my body wouldn't let me. I was frustrated. I started the habit of punching walls to release my stress. I lashed out at others. I was living proof of toxic masculinity, believing that anger was the only emotion I was allowed to express. One day, me and my dad had a serious conflict that escalated quickly. I had to control my emotions, but I bashed the table in front of him and burst him. For the first time, he saw the stone I was holding inside. And that led to something that I was never expecting. A real deep conversation. He said, "Son, you don't need to feel that you are alone. this is an issue of many boys, and even I had gone through the same pain and the same suffocation. I was a bit surprised, and then he started to explain how we overcame that challenge and became better. Ladies and gentlemen, that was my turning point. From then on, I decided to change. I started a habit of meditating. I did deep breathing. I reoriented my anger from punching walls to punching a boxing bag. And most importantly, I started to open up to my family and my friends. And finally, I felt lighter and better. Ladies, have you ever seen your dad, brother, or boyfriend crying? Gentlemen, have you ever bottled up emotions like me? Let me leave you with this. Emotions are human. They are not gendered. So it's time to unlearn what we have been taught. Because crying never makes anyone weak. It makes them real. So the next time when someone says, boys don't cry, just picture this in your mind. Not of a stone, but of a human. A human with a heart, with feelings, and courage to cry. Let's make space for emotions, not shame. Let's teach the next generation that bravery is not being silent, but being honest about what we feel. Condestia, do you think the boy in front of you is a stone anymore? Oh dear.